Good morning. Welcome back. And I just want to say that I really enjoyed these group papers. A lot of you, it seems, did some really good reflection on some of the groups that you've worked in the past and realizing that, whether you consciously thought about it back then, but you certainly do think about it now, that you do end up assuming quite a few roles in a group. As a matter of fact, and I don't know, I think I told you this, I'm not sure, but I know in the last group session I was in, which was my department meeting, typically I look at the task roles, social maintenance, there's 20 roles. And I would say on average in an hour meeting, I assume at least 8. Okay? And when you reflect back on some of the ways that you contributed, some of the things that you said, you realize that, yeah, I guess I really do assume quite a few of these roles when I'm in a group. And again, you want to make sure that you're assuming those good task and social maintenance roles to make sure you're the most effective group communicator that you can be, and that you're there to help complete the task at hand or find a solution to a problem. All right. So now some of those that came in right at the deadline and a little afterwards, I'll be getting back to those. I know a lot of you already got your group papers back. But now it's time to move on. And now it's time for one of my favorite, if not my favorite assignment, and that is the persuasive speech. All right. As you can see from your attachment, I actually forgot I put out such a detailed attachment. I think this is when I first started doing this in the spring last year, because the first assignment students had to do after we took our extended spring break, when they realized, oh crap, we're going to have to close the school down. So you have this nice large explanation of what I'm looking for. And that, of course, I'm looking for a 3 to 5 minute persuasive speech based on a topic of your choice. All right. And as it states, what your goal is you're looking to influence the opinion, attitude, and or behavior of your audience. And one of the best ways to do that is to make sure, if you remember way back about what helps in a speech, is making sure you have great knowledge of your topic. And typically when you have a very strong opinion of a topic, you have great knowledge of it. Or at least you don't mind looking to seek out great knowledge about that topic. And that's the one thing I really want to stress today, is that as you're choosing a topic, is I want to make sure that you choose something that maybe long before you registered for this class and saw my first video, long before you even entered the hallowed halls or the virtual halls of Bergen Community College, you already had a strong opinion about this particular topic that you're choosing, okay? And remember, it's a topic of your choice. As long as you can get at least 3 sources to help to provide evidence as to why we should feel the same way you do, think the way you do, share the same opinion or idea, or actually get us to do something you want us to do, okay? So that's what you want to do. And I've had all kinds of different topics. I mean, you could do on some of the basic topics. You could talk about why we should have the death penalty, or why, marijuana should be legal. Or I'll tell you some of the craziest things, okay? Take a look at your sample outlines, all right? Look at some of the topics there. I think one of my favorites is, I think it's Maria, who talks about why the negative stereotype that Disney puts out, that beauty is good. Okay? And I think that's a great topic that she chose. It may not be something you would think of off the top, but she felt very strongly that too often Disney promotes this negative stereotype just because someone's beautiful, that they're good and they're angelic. Okay? I guess she's watched that movie Mean Girls a few times. But, and she provides great evidence to back up what she's saying. All right? So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be choosing a topic, and as it states on the what's it called again? The assignment sheet. You need to have me a specific purpose statement by Sunday night, 8 p.m. Now, there's two type of persuasive speeches, okay? Now, one is a speech of conviction. This is where you go for thought, okay? You want people to think and feel the way you do. So it would be, as you can see, after listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me, and then whatever your topic is. The other is speech of actuation. This is where you not only want people to think and feel the way you do, but actually get them to take an action you want them to take. After listening to my speech, my audience will, and then you describe an action. It could be something as simple, I think Rose. Rose is a very simple one. After listening to my speech, my audience will become an organ donor. That's it. That's all she wrote. Yet, it gets right to the point. Again, this is why I love that it's called a specific purpose statement, because it gets right to exactly what it is that I'm looking for. All right? So start working. Start getting. As a matter of fact, as you can see, one of the things that's going to make this very easy, this assignment, is two things. Number one, you've already got one of these under your belt. And when it comes to the organization, as you can see from the 4 samples I provided you, it's not really any different. You're still organizing the outline using 2 or 3 main points. You've got the attention gainer, the preview, review, some form of closure. It's very much the same. Bibliography, all right? So that's going to help making it easy, but also because of the assignment itself is that the topic is something you get to choose. It's a topic of your choice. Now, of course, when you hand me a specific purpose statement, I still need to look at it just in case. And when I mean just in case, I know this is a very extreme example, but you'd be crazy to know sometimes you get some, don't send me a specific purpose statement that says, to listen to my speech, my audience will agree with me that kiddie porn is good. Not only am I not accepting that, but I will have the authorities at your front door within minutes. But no, I say that because that's extreme, but yeah, there are very few. Oh, I'll give you another example, maybe something that fits a little better, is after listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me that smoking is bad for you. Now, that's a speech of conviction. That I won't accept, and I'll tell you why. In a situation like that, I don't think anybody disagrees with you. After listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me that smoking is bad for you. You know who doesn't disagree with you? Smokers. Yet, after they watch your speech, as they would in the class, what I always kid about, especially because typically I teach this class in West Hall, which is right next to the golf course, is, you'll have people who will leave the classroom, and they'll be like, yeah, man, that guy's speech was good. Yeah, I think I should stop smoking. So, a speech of conviction about smoking, no good, but a speech of actuation. After listening to my speech, my audience will never smoke, and those that do smoke will quit. Now, that's a different story. That's something I would definitely accept. So it's very rare that I don't accept a specific purpose statement just within, and I used that one extreme example about the kiddie porn, but it's rare, but yeah, if it's something like smoking, or after listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me that they should have a better diet. Well, everybody agrees that, yet they still eat the stuff they're not supposed to, or they don't exercise the way they should. So after listening to my speech, my audience will eat healthy. Or after listening to my speech, my audience will begin an exercise program. Certain topics need to be speech of actuation and not speech of conviction. All right, go for it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you've decided to do for your persuasive speech. And like I said, it could be anything. You see the examples in the 4 sample outlines, okay? They spread the gamut of different type of topics. But I'll give you one more example, one little thing before I let you go. Several years ago, and this is going way back, like 15 years ago, the Bergen Record was in the summer. They were running a summer series. There was a decision going to be made of what to put next to the what is now the Izod Center. Okay, back then it was the Meadowlands Arena. And they were actually taking ideas from people, and they were talking about the different bids that went up. And of course, the shopping center and that kind of thing, something that eventually did go there, which took like 14 years to finally open. But one of the bids was for a NASCAR track. Okay, for NASCAR to have a racetrack right there at the Meadowlands. Well, one of my students at the time, for those of you who know the area by the arena in East Rutherford, he worked at the sports bar called Reds, okay, which is right there near Patterson Plank Road. So he went home that weekend after class and did his research. He came back, and that's actually what he did his speech on. Because he found out through research, and this is at the time where NASCAR, I think it was 2004, 2005, was the number 2 most popular sport in America at the time. That's when some of its most popular drivers were still very active. The Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and especially Dale Earnhardt Jr. But he realized that as he did his homework and he crunched the numbers, he said, forget Super Bowls, forget concerts at the stadium. He said, I would have my 2 or 3 best days during the weekend that NASCAR would be here. So it could be any topic that you have a strong opinion about, as long as you try to convince us or persuade us to influence us that we should feel like you do, think the way you do, or even possibly do something you want us to do. All right, you guys, we'll see you on Monday, and I look forward to seeing your specific purpose statements.